Hello everyone. Thanks a million for coming along. My name is Claire Murphy. Today I'm going to go through a personal statement webinar with you. I'm just going to give you some tips and tricks to writing a really effective personal statement. As I said before, if you could sign the attendance in the chat box, that would be great. We'll send you out a link with all the slides. Just to get started. This is what we'll cover today. What to research before you start writing your personal statement, what course directors are looking for, getting started. So it's kind of difficult to start writing a personal statement for nothing. So I will cover that, and then I'll go on to general principles for writing a personal statement, the concluding statement, and then what to avoid in your personal statement. So before you start writing, really important, you have to do your research. So you have to do your research on the course. So what do I mean by that? You need to go to the web page. You need to figure out what modules will you be studying. Have you studied modules like that before? You need to figure out, is the course director looking for any specific skills? Is there a placement on your master's? What will your master's lead to? But the most important thing is you need to reflect and figure out, why are you a match to this master's? Why should the course director pick you over someone else? So before you start, you need to research the deadline for the postgraduate application. Really important. The entry requirements for the course. Now please bear in mind that some courses are a little bit more flexible than others. So what do I mean by that? Some postgraduate courses may say a 2-1. However, some may be flexible in that if you have a 2-2 in your overall degree, but let's say you have a 2-1 in that module or certain subjects or certain modules, they may be more flexible and offer you a place. But that's something you need to talk to the course director about. You need to research the subjects, the modules you will study on this, find out if there's a thesis or a placement as part of the course. You need to research the career paths that are available after the course, like where is the master's going to take you? Where do you want the master's to take you? What is the master's going to equip you with? And if possible, to attend an open day and talk to the course director. So that's why you're all here today. Very important, you need to check the word count. Generally, it is 400, 500 words here in NUI Galway. Can sometimes be 600 or can sometimes be very short. You also need to check out sample personal statements online, and if someone reminds me at the end, I will give you a link to a website with a lot of sample personal statements. So what are course directors looking for? So don't forget, course directors are the people that are going to evaluate your personal statement and your overall application. Some masters do require that a CD is included in the personal statement, but again, you need to check online, what are course directors looking for, what are the entry requirements, what are the skills, the modules, the disciplines they're looking for. So having discussed personal statements with many course directors, these are a few things that course directors have told me that they're looking for. So the motivation to study. So why are you choosing this course? What do you want to get out of this course? Or what do you hope to get out of this course? Are there certain subjects, modules, skills that this course is going to equip you with? Do you already have any of the relevant skills from CAME or PAL or part-time work or perhaps a placement you completed in your undergrad? Do you have any related interests and hobbies? So for example, you may be applying to an MA in journalism. Have you been writing a blog? Have you been writing for the college newspaper? Different things like that. So they do need to be related. You may be discussing how you developed your leadership or teamwork skills through playing sport, but do keep it relevant. And again, relevant work, volunteer, placement experience. So it's up to you to evaluate what you did in the past that has equipped you with certain skills or knowledge that proves you're a match for this master's you're applying for. Course directors are looking for a well-written, well-presented statement, relevant work experience if you have any. Volunteering can also count. Relevance of the degree to your course, relevance of broad key skills, evidence of work ethic in the form of achievements. So, you would need to mention some of your academic results because that shows your academic suitability. You may have done a final year project which relates to the course you've done, so you may want to mention that. A career plan of sorts. Anything distinctive about your degree results? Did you do a team project which you scored very highly on, or are your results amazing overall? Evidence that you understand the course and the modules entailed. Really, really important. And a lot of course directors look for this. They want to know, do you know what you're getting yourself into? Do you understand the career that comes from this postgraduate course? So for example, social work. There's many aspects to social work. You might be working with old people, you might be working with children, you might be working with vulnerable people in foster care. So it's important that you understand every aspect, not just the aspect that you want to specialize in. Okay, so what I did was, so Cian, I'll keep the questions to the end if that's okay. So hold on to that question and you can type it in again at the Q&A. Brilliant. So as I said, I spoke to a couple of course directors and asked them what are they looking for, and these are the types of things they came up with. I tried to pick a course director from law, arts, business. So here's what they had to say. So this is the course director from human rights. So she's saying it's crucial to demonstrate that you've thought about where you want the job or placement to take you and in the course that you're applying for. In other words, it's important to tell the course director why you want the course, okay? In view of your future goals and your aspirations, you need to convince them that you're determined to get the most that you possibly can out of the course, okay? And therefore know that you will be a committed member of the team. So what she's saying there is, if group projects are part of the masters, will you fit in? Will you do your part? Will you get along with others? And you need to show proof of that. So how do you show proof of that? By showing that you've done it in a previous capacity through part-time work or as part of your undergrad. You may have completed team projects as part of your undergrad. Tom Fell, I'll let you click on that. He provided me with a recording of what he was looking for. So my slides appear to be a little bit jumbled up here, but in the slides that you will get everything the course directors are looking for. Getting started. Okay, so this is probably the most difficult thing. People find it really hard to start writing about themselves and writing about themselves in a manner that sells themselves in an academic way. So don't forget you're selling your academic suitability, your academic achievements, and then you're also selling your skills and extracurricular activities you've completed that make you a very good candidate for this course. One of the first starting points that I would suggest is this Career Development Centre booklet. I have put the link in the chat box, and this booklet contains a set of questions, okay? So you should try and spend time answering these questions. These questions will cause you to reflect. Another thing that's really, really important is this is called a personal statement for a reason, okay? So you can use personal pronouns. And you need to keep it personal. It needs to be about your own personal work experience and academic journey, okay? So those questions will get you started. I have put it in the chat box. And these are some of the questions that you should start thinking about to help you get started, okay? So why do you want to apply for the course? Is it that you're studying something that you really enjoy and you want to further your knowledge? Is it the fact there's a placement and you want to apply or see the practical application of this knowledge while on placement? Is it that you feel the masters might equip you with certain skills, whether it's, technical skills, such as data visualization or certain analytical skills or marketing skills? What have you studied in your undergraduate degree and what did you enjoy, okay? So did you study subjects or modules that you will now be studying at postgrad? So do you have a good foundation for these subjects? Did you score highly in these subjects? And now you want to further your knowledge. What skills, interests, hobbies, aptitudes do you have that make you a good candidate for the course? So did you ever have a position on a society where, you really improved your marketing skills? For example, were you a public relations officer and you really enjoyed organizing events and digital marketing events, and now you want to go down that road? What have you studied for your undergraduate degree? Again, really, really important. Why do you want to apply for this course? So what is it going to equip you with? Have you developed an interest in your course and the relevant modules? First of all, look up the application date, really, really important. And just one thing I want to say here is that in NUI Galway, the masters are offered on a rolling basis, okay? So what does that mean? So it means every couple of weeks, all applications are assessed and then you will know. So, you will have noticed that there's no closing dates per se. And even if in a couple of months' time, you decide, oh, I'll just apply for this master's, I know it's very last minute, contact the course director and always ask, are there places available? And you may be surprised. However, there are some very attractive masters which fill up very, very quickly, but it's important that you do keep in contact with the course director and ask them. Always ask, okay? The personal statement is personal, so use I when writing your personal statement. Using the third person makes the personal statement sound vague. So this, as I said, is a personal statement. It should be written in the vernacular, personally, formal to some degree, but it shouldn't be written as an academic document, I have come across people and they almost try and explain what the industry is that they're going into. But don't forget that you're writing a personal statement for an industry expert, so they know what the industry is. So no need to explain the industry, no need to explain modules. And remember to always back up everything you say with evidence. So I feel that I would be a good fit for this course having academically excelled in, okay? Don't talk negatively about yourself or other people and avoid kind of generic phrases such as my friends would say, I'm a very reliable person. Don't plagiarize from anyone or an online source. Don't use colloquial language, and no need to get kind of too personal either. Try and keep everything relevant as to why you're a match. Humor is a very subjective thing, so I probably try and avoid that. What you might think is funny, another person might not. So try not to have short clipped sentences. Instead use words to link sentences, and suggested link words are mentioned further on. So that booklet that I told you about earlier on, that has questions and you can group those questions into paragraphs. Starting off it may be difficult, so you may just want to have headings and think of keywords and then write around that. And we will discuss how you group your paragraphs further on. Even though you may be applying to a similar course or the same courses in different universities, you need to submit a unique personal statement for each course that you're applying for. So what do I mean by that? If you're applying to 2 different courses in NUI Galway, then you would require 2 different personal statements. Each personal statement should be different and unique for each specific course and each specific university, but you can use some of the same parts for each statement you submit. Personal statements are usually 600 words, which is the equivalent of 1 type page, but again, it's up to you to check out the word count. That may vary. UCAS personal statements are usually 600 words. This may vary, so check. Don't worry about the word count at the start, okay? So what you need to focus on the start is the content of what you're writing. Is it relevant? Are you giving the course director a personal insight into what you have to offer and why you'd be a good match for the course? Break up your personal statement into sections, which are listed in the booklet. Each section should be given a paragraph. And again, you can do all your editing and formatting at the end. You must evidence any claim. So for example, there's no point in really saying, I have excellent communication and leadership skills. You need to say how you developed those skills. Remember, your personal statement is not an autobiography, okay? So you do need to keep it relevant, okay? So you don't need to mention primary school. You may want to mention your leaving cert, and maybe if you studied that subject for leaving cert and that's where your passion started or your passion was ignited. But I would, for the most part, try and keep it relevant and try and keep it based on your experiences and your academic journey within 3rd level. Each sentence is important and should convince the reader that you're a very good match to the course, okay? One thing that I know from reviewing personal statements is that, at the start when you're writing, it may come across as quite repetitive. But after each sentence, you need to read back over it and figure out, is that showing me in the best possible light, and have I said that before? So focus in on your academic qualifications, your motivation, your relevant skills, and your attributes. There are some courses such as social care, secondary school teaching, where they may be looking for personal attributes such as, empathy, patience. And again, you need to say how you developed those attributes. Your writing reflects you, so make sure it is as impressive as possible. Avoid the following: overused generic phrases. I am currently studying, from an early age, from as long as I can remember, and you'll get all of them in the link to the slides. General principles to writing a personal statement. So I have kind of grouped these into chronological order to try and make it even easier for you. So you might start off with the motivators for the course. Then you might go on to, so motivators, why do you want the course? Is there subjects or there modules as to what you want to study? Perhaps there's a certain career path that you want, and that's why you're doing the course. Perhaps the course is going to equip you with a professional qualification, which is regulated by a professional body. Then you might want to go on to talk about work, placement, volunteer experience, the skills that you learned or developed from them. Again, you might want to go back to your academic records and mention skills again, related hobbies and interests. And then 5, I would always end on, what's the next step for you after this course? Where is it going to take you? So let's go through each section and look at examples. Okay, so motivation for the course. Did you enjoy the degree in certain subjects? And one thing I do want to say is that it's okay if you don't know what you want to do after the course. You could be simply doing the course because, you studied a subject at 3rd level and you absolutely love it and you want to continue it, and that's perfectly okay too. What did you study at your undergraduate degree that prepared you for this course? And there does have to be some kind of link and relation between what you studied in your undergrad and what you're now going to study. Did you do any projects or research related to the course? Possess any relevant skills required for the course? Your opening line should be powerful. And don't forget, course directors are reading many, many personal statements. So you want to try and grab their attention from the start. You could describe a memory or an important event or experience which influenced your career choice. So certain career choices are vocations, particularly the health sciences. And, you may have seen the impact of a certain profession which had on you or your family or your friends, and that inspired you to pursue a career in that area or that field or that profession. No matter what sentence you choose, make it attention grabbing, okay? So you can use a powerful quote in your personal statement, but just make sure that it is relevant. For example, I always go back to theatre. It's probably where I'll draw my last breath, Peter Gallagher. So quotes are a bit like humour. You can use them, but a quote may have a meaning for you that it doesn't have for someone else. You can incorporate a quote into the text if it supports your course choice, but it really, really has to be relevant to you and your course choice. So you can see here, my goal is to make the UN CRPD's mantra, nothing about us without us, a reality, not just a token's sake, and to continue rally people with disabilities together to help make a change, okay? So that's a very, very powerful quote for someone who was applying for comparative disability law. Both of these quotes were very applicable to specific masters, okay? So you may have a quote in mind that's specific for your masters. And again, this is what I was talking about, a profession having a profound impact on someone, so much so that they wanted to pursue a career in that profession. So this is someone applying for speech and language therapy. So the impact of speech and language therapists had on my cousin's life was a major influence in my decision to pursue a career in speech and language therapy. So you can kind of hear the passion in that. Her progression from a specialist school to a local mainstream school inspired me to choose a career where I can make the same difference to a person with a communication difficulty and to their family. So there, that quote or those few lines show me that that person really understands the work of a speech and language therapist. Okay, so academic achievements. The amount of statements I read where students don't mention one subject or one module they've studied, and so one doesn't know, do they have a pass grade, do they have a 2-2, do they have a 1? And different results matter for different courses, but it's really, really important that you mention your academic qualifications and show why are you right for the course. So you may have scored very highly in some modules, and they're the modules you may want to mention. And again, I've said you want to touch on the subjects you studied for Leaving Cert if that's where your passion was born. One thing you do need to answer: how did you arrive at that course? Did you study any of the subjects or modules? And again, did you do any extracurricular course? So, for example, you may be applying for teaching and you may have completed an S&A course. You may be applying for marketing and you may have, completed a social media course. You may be applying for a business course and you may be fluent in a language which you may feel may be very useful in that field. So this is a good example of showing an interest in the subject and how you came about that. So here we have a student who studied Soc and Pol and is applying for the MA in Advocacy and Activism. So I've always been interested in the world around me, observing and analysing how the political and social forces intertwine with our everyday lives. During my undergraduate studies, the integration of my philosophy classes and the full range of offerings in political science and sociology furthered my interest in how theory and research can influence society. An area of interest for me continues to be examining how ideas of policy and empowerment can bring about positive change for the future generations of people with disability. So really powerful few lines showing how her undergrad in sociology, politics and philosophy have given her a foundational knowledge for the MA in Advocacy and Activism, and why she's a match to that course. Academic achievement. Okay, so again, here is how someone showed they were a match academically to a course. So developmental psychology was one of the modules within my degree that sparked the passion for teaching in me. The module covered the development of children all the way from infancy to adolescence, which I took a huge interest in. I subsequently received over 70% in that module, and I would welcome the opportunity to further study developmental psychology and other related subjects such as educational psychology on this post-primary education course. So then again, you can see how someone studied psychology, they loved it, they performed really well, and then that shows how they're a match for the PME, because the PME does contain some psychology modules. Again, another student showing how they studied, something at Leaving Cert, and that's where their passion started, and that they were always strong at English. So I'll let you read that. Again, skills, qualities, work experience, and other achievements. I would group this into section 3. So you need to focus on your transferable skills. So what are the skills you learned in the past that are now helping you to be a match for this course and will help you to perform well in the course? Society role, have you participated in CAME, PAL, Alive, Cell Explorers, the Employability Award, Chemistry Kitchen? What skills have you developed from these roles? Have you participated in any big group projects? Did you have a part-time job while studying? To me, people who work part-time and go to college, it shows great organization and time management skills. So I think it's worth putting in. And again, these are just examples of, skills that people acquired through different work experiences. And again, this is very individual because all your work experience and skills are going to be individual. So whenever you state a skill, always back it up with evidence of how you acquired that skill. And note, there's some fantastic programs in NUI Galway, like Chasus. I know we have the LIFT leadership program. So again, they'd be great examples of how you develop skills. And just remember, a skill is acquired through constantly doing. So there are some of the skills that maybe employers and directors look for, course directors, but it's important that you research your own individual course. And it's really, really important that you give them what they're looking for. So if a course director says, they're looking for someone who's empathetic, who can actively listen with very good communication skills, and then you're going on about how great your teamwork skills are, you're not a match to what they're looking for, okay? So you always need to go through what they're looking for and then give them what they're looking for. And you need to give your examples, support everything you say with examples. And only write about experience or skills if it relates to the course, okay? So everything needs to be relevant. Don't forget that. Sometimes people want to talk about all their achievements and everything, and that's fine, but you have to ask yourself, are they relevant? And again, there are skills that you may have learned through extracurricular activities, through, maybe your family background, your family heritage, and you need to reflect and ask yourself, are they useful when applying, okay? And again, focus on your transferable skills. Do you have any really useful transferable skills that will help you in this master's? And this is an example of a student showing how they acquired skills through extracurricular activity, okay? So in my second year of college, I joined the school paper to get a sense of how a different type of writing environment worked, and also to get a sense of the publication process and what went into the production of coherent published works, such as preparation, research, and working as part of a team with an editorial team. This was a very informative experience, as I had my own writing responsibilities, but this was still in conversation with an editor and publishing staff. This was when the importance of the commercial and business side of publishing was made clear. Through attending meetings and different kinds of seminars throughout my undergraduate degree, I became confident expressing my options in relation to literature and society and respecting the options of others. So this was a volunteer role that this girl took on, Faye, and she has since started the Masters in Literature and Publishing. So you can see how she sold her volunteer and extracurricular activity and made it relevant to the course she was applying for. And again, this shows that she had a really good understanding of literature and publishing. So there is another quote. And again, this is from Jacobo, who has a BA in Classics and Archaeology and was accepted into University College London to do an MA in Arts Heritage. So I spent considerable time outside my studies learning new languages in immersive environments, and I've secured a distinction mark of 90% in IELT exam during a 6-month English course in Galway, passed a B2 level German Goth exam in Freiburg, gained a business English qualification in London while deepening my knowledge of economics and business, and achieved a B2 level DELF certificate in French at a language school in Montpellier. So there you can see that Jacobo here is showing off his amazing language skills, which are very relevant to the Arts Heritage course that he was applying for. Extracurricular activities. Okay, so the Career Development Centre does run the Employability Award, and as I said, there's Chasseurs, there's CAME, there's PAL, there's the Lift Leadership, and there's so many extracurricular activities which help you develop so many skills, not just for postgraduate courses, but also for employment. If you have completed any of them, I would advise you include them on your personal statement, but you do need to state, what did you gain from these? What skills did you gain from these? Extracurricular activities, how did you volunteer? Did shadowing, did you do a placement in your undergrad and you were shadowing a certain profession? So for example, did teaching dance or music to young children in a summer camp in the USA give you an insight into teaching children? Did your work placement give you a great understanding? So writing about sporting involvement, okay. Your sporting activities are only relevant if you want to inform the reader about your wider talents and give them a flavour of you. And again, that goes back to keeping things relevant, okay? So it's only required if it relates to the course. So remember, with the personal statement, you are writing about what they're looking for, not writing an autobiography or giving random facts about yourself. So state the sport, particularly, if you achieved a lot in the sport, or even just participation, did you participate in a marathon? Because that would require, commitment, dedication, discipline, and again, state the skills you learned from your sporting achievements. And again, that's the Employability Awards. That's the graduation ceremony from a long time ago when we were all on campus. But just something important to consider. I know one or two of you in the chat did say you're in second or third year. And, for those of you that are in first, second or third year and have maybe a year or two left of college, you need to try and ask yourself, how do I stand out? How will I equip myself with skills, attributes that are going to help me get the postgrad course that I want? And again, here's another quote from a girl who did English and law and wanted to do a master's in librarian and information studies. So she said, I also feel that the vision statement of the UCD School of Information and Communication Studies reflects my own personal values, such as social responsibility. In my time as a competitive debater here at NUI Galway, I have taken part in competitions hosted by UCD's Literary and Historical Society. So again, this student is talking about how her role or her participation in society events equipped her with the skills for the masters that she wanted, which equipped me with the confidence to clearly articulate my opinion on any given topic. Career pathways. So I would advise that you do state, if you don't know, that's okay, but what career pathway you're on now. It's obviously okay not to know, and obviously you can change your mind. So it is okay to know what you don't want to do long term, but try and link an outcome to the course. In other words, how will this course help you to reach your chosen destination? You do, however, need to be clear on what you want from the course, especially if the course is not a vocational course. So if the course has no set career pathway or no set professional career attached to it, then you do need to be specific about why you want the course and what the course can do for you. Here's another example. So an example from Hannah Malloy, who's studying a BA in Social and Public Policy, and she was applying for a European Studies Masters in Maastricht. So public policy is at the heart of my degree, but I want to take it one step further. My degree has allowed me to expand my knowledge of Irish public policy system. So that's really good because there's great detail in that. It's very specific, including the Irish welfare state and the Irish healthcare system. However, a specialisation in European public policy and administration will allow me to begin to broaden my knowledge of the EU policy system, including the transposition of European directives into national legislation. So here Hannah is telling us, what she wants to study and what the Masters is going to give her, and the role of civil society in EU integration and policy making. I want to learn about the finer details of policy drafting and using this knowledge in my future career in the European institutes. So this is another example of a student explaining why she's applying for a postgrad course that is unrelated to hers. Now this is overall quite rare that someone might apply for a master's completely unrelated to their course. It does, however, happen. So a recent graduate in cell and molecular biology, I'm now changing career path and going back to what I love, theatre. After obtaining my degree, I've decided that the profession isn't for me, but that a career in theatre is. However, this does not mean my science degree is not valuable. I have learned problem-solving skills and computer skills, which I find extremely useful in everyday life in my time studying science. So again, it's important to note she didn't speak negatively about her undergrad degree, even though she no longer wants to pursue it. So avoid speaking badly of yourself or others. Avoid spelling and grammar mistakes. I know I may be guilty of them myself, but avoid rushing the personal statement. Really, really important. So I think it's really important, you work on your personal statement, take a break, leave it, come back to it, and use all the resources you can get. Avoid giving your own opinion of yourself. Avoid copying from others and online resources. Avoid generic, vague language. Avoid describing yourself in the third person. So even in pandemic, spelling mistakes happen. So you can see that huge spelling mistake there. Stop following the herd. Be yourself. Be authentic. Be original. The conclusion. So the conclusion of the personal statement. This should be a short final paragraph. Summarize why you should get a place in the course. Give three good reasons why you should be offered this course. If you used a quote at the beginning, try to link your personal statement back to the quote, okay? So your quote does need to have relevance. And some people are very good at, using a quote at the start, writing a personal statement, and then referring back to that quote. But again, that's not something you have to do. It's just something some of you might like to do. After a meeting, so avoid being long-winded. After a meeting with my career advisors, I returned home to think over the matter more carefully. So avoid phrases like that, because that does, however, suggest that the career advisor made the career choice for you. Ultimately, I came to the conclusion that my interest in psychology and maths would be a good fit for a teaching career. So that looks like someone was really heavily influenced by a career advisor. My friends would tell you that I am fun loving and sociable. So again, and I love to go to bars and nightclubs. That's not really appropriate or relevant for a personal statement. Use short sentences, not too short, but keep them to the point, and avoid like 3 or 4 line sentences, if that makes sense. Avoid certain negative words and words that are used a lot. And in general, when we're writing, we all have our personal style and we all tend to use the same buzzwords over and over again. So avoid negative words. Avoid starting a sentence with and because. That's never really appropriate in English nor in a personal statement, even when you're stuck for space. Avoid using the same expressions over and over again. Use a variety of phrases and language to keep the personal statements interesting. Use words for linking sentences, furthermore, in addition, additionally, yet, which, however. Reasons why applications were unsuccessful. So UCAS is the British system that reviews personal statements and offers people places and courses according to the personal statement. So these are the reasons. Your personal statement does not strongly support your desire to study your chosen degree. Your personal statement did not show sufficient understanding, relevance, or knowledge about the course, and that's really, really important for vocational courses. You failed to demonstrate sufficient knowledge and interest in the subject in your personal statement. More reasons: there was a lot of competition, and your personal statement and experience was not as strong as other applicants this year. Application form does not evidence accurate understanding of a motivation for subject. Unsuccessful as you've not expressed a strong enough interest. So my top 10 tips, just to recap, for writing a personal statement: do your research on the entry requirements in the module, is very, very important, and careers and career pathways. Write in the first person using I. Write out a rough draft of your personal statement. Look up sample personal statements online. Attend a personal statement workshop. Use this presentation and the Career Development Centre booklet as a guide. Speak to course directors today regarding the personal statement. Speak to previous students if you know any, friends, neighbours. Maybe you did Erasmus and someone in your class didn't, and they're now on the course you want to be on. Ask a friend or family to review your personal statement, particularly for typos and spelling errors. We do have a service where you can book a personal statement review with the Career Development Centre, and I will put that link in. So what you do is you email Careers Connect and say you'd like your personal statement reviewed, and we'll review it and send it back to you. Keep in touch with us. We've loads of really cool events coming up. Tomorrow we have a job search in creative industries coming up. At 1 o'clock we have a disclosure workshop for people with disabilities or mental health challenges. So a head is coming in to discuss how you disclose to an employer and ask for maybe reasonable accommodations. We have an interview skills workshop coming up. All of these are on Careers Connect, so you can sign up to Careers Connect and you'll get an email and a reminder about these events. We have a Careers in Psychology event tomorrow from 4 to 6. You can sign up on Connect. So, are there any questions now? Cian, would you like to come back to me? Do you have any general advice for mature students on writing personal statements? No, the advice for mature students would be the same as for school leavers, only that you may have more experience and more skills to sell. You also may have more of a variety of jobs to sell. So I'll just ask you